What up, guys? So today we got a question from Matt, who is a 4-stripe white belt, and he's a big guy, about 220 pounds, and he says he prefers slow pressure passing. Imagine that, Matt. You're 220 pounds and you prefer slow pressure passing. Who would have thunk? I'm just messing with you, bro. I'm 210 pounds and I like pressure passing too. All us big guys do. Anyways, he says, I'm experiencing an obstacle though. I don't use as much pressure as I could, and my coaches tell me I should use more. The more general problem is that I excessively worry about hurting my training partners. It's not a bad worry. There's worse things to have with your training. He says, not only through pressure, but I try not to be explosive. I'm not trying to use any dynamic movements. And he's like, I know accidents happen, but all of this feeling overly concerned and cautious makes me overly defensive, passive, and soft. So he asks, what's the best way to change my thinking about, going hard, up in the intensity, and limiting the injury risk? Keep in mind, I'm not doing anything dangerous, no illegal moves, nothing fancy, but my worry is stopping me from getting better at the fundamentals, like putting pressure or using cross faces, etc. Cheers, mate. Thanks, Matt. So, Matt, thank you for the question, bro. So check this out, man. I'm going to give you a couple ideas to chew on as far as up in the intensity, and doing so in a very safe and effective way that makes your jiu-jitsu better and you're getting skill from it, and in a way that's not going to hurt anybody or piss anybody off, right? I boxed for a long time when I was fighting MMA, and I really enjoyed boxing. And I remember when I was boxing one time, one of my boxing coaches said something that I think every boxing coach has expressed in their own words. But basically, we were in the gym one day and we were all sparring, and we had this newer guy in there. And, we were just starting off. We was just our first couple rounds, and we're just kind of getting warmed up, moving around a little bit. And he gets in there, and I mean, he is swinging from his hips. He's swinging for the fences, and you're getting those swings like this, not really thinking about what he's doing. He's just trying to hit something. And he was boxing with one of the more experienced guys. And, we were all telling him, hey, man, chill out. Like, don't go so hard. And I mean, he's still swinging like crazy, right? Well, eventually, the more experienced boxer, he swings one of those big swings and a miss, slips, and boom, drills him with a right. Just drops him right there. He sits him on his butt. The guy's like sitting back on his butt with his face, his eyes are as big as dinner plates. And he gets up, he's like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you hitting so hard? And we had to tell him, hey, bro, like, you did this. And my boxing coach, he gets up and he says, hey, bro, he's like, you only hit as hard as you're willing to get hit. So you're swinging from these fences here, you're swinging from your hips. Like, you got to be prepared to get hit if you're going to swing like that. So dial it back a little bit, right? And that was a good wake-up call to him, because in his next sparring round, he was much lighter, right? So anyway, you can replace the idea of hitting with rolling, right? And this is kind of like the golden rule of combat sports. The golden rule that we tell little kids that adults often forget to use or keep in mind when they become adults. Treat other people like you want to be treated. Well, roll with people like you want to be rolled with. Simple as that, right? So for instance, with me, with my rolling, when I'm training, I will not crank on sloppy submissions. So let's say if I got you in like a guillotine, but it's not quite there, and I'm squeezing a little bit, you're not responding to it, I don't feel like it's there, I'm going to let go. I'm not going to keep cranking your neck, because I don't want someone to just crank on my neck for no reason. Also, if I get you into a submission, I have a philosophy with submissions. I catch fast, I finish slow. So what this means is I might get into a position, boom, 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 get the arm really tight, and then once I'm there, I'm going to slowly unravel everything and finish, so that you have ample time both to defend and to tap out. This does a number of things. One, it improves my ability to control the submission all the way through, which makes my submission rate better when I do compete and I go a little faster. It makes my technique better. But then also, too, is it makes sure that you don't get injured, because you have plenty of time to defend or tap out, right? So I'm not cranking and getting submission. Likewise with leg locks. I know a lot of people get freaked out about leg locks. I've never injured anybody with leg locks. And one of the reasons why is, let's say if I get you into a heel hook, maybe I've got that heel all nice and tucked in, it's tight, my legs are tight, everything's tight. At that point, I sort of pause and hold, and I look at you like, I gotcha, right? And again, I'm not going to rip it. I'm not going to pop it. I could. Obviously, I know how to do that, but I'm not going to do that, because, again, I want you to be able to train. I don't want to injure you, right? And those are things that I want people to do to me, because I don't want someone to wrench my neck for, seconds at a time just because they really want to win the round. I don't want someone to snap my arm back with a submission really fast and possibly injure me. I want someone to treat my body like they want to have their body treated with, right? So, again, I want to take care of people like I want to be taken care of. And so when I'm rolling with someone, I keep that person in mind. Now, with pressure, I'll add some pressure, because I'm okay with people adding pressure on me. Crossface is fine. I don't care what they do. Like, as long as it's something that has a technical aim, it's all good. Because again, if you're going to put pressure on me and you're going to challenge me technically, then again, that's a good thing. It kind of goes back to what you're talking about with crossfaces and pressure. Use pressure, use crossfaces. You can use any of that uncomfortable stuff. The deal is that you want to have a technical aim on it. So for instance, if I'm cross-facing someone, there should be a purpose for that cross-face. Maybe I'm defending a takedown. Maybe I'm moving the person towards a position that I want to get to for a choke, whatever it might be. I don't want to be sitting there just grinding my forearm into someone's face because I have no idea what else to do, right? That would be irritating. That would be a dick move. But when you're in the position and you're saying, okay, I might push my forearm into their neck so that this way they go to defend their hands up and then it opens up their arm for an armbar, that is a very technical aim and you're using something that's very uncomfortable, right? So if you combine that, the use of uncomfortable stuff, pressure, cross faces, whatever, with the technical aim, it's all good, right? You're not gonna make anybody angry. You're not gonna risk injury because you know why you're doing it. You're not just doing it because you have nothing better to do. Now, you kind of talked about pressure being your big worry, right? Because you're a big guy, right? And again, you do want to use pressure responsibly because here's an example. The other day I was rolling with one of my women, one of my students who's like 110 pounds. And we're rolling around. And I remember I shot in for a takedown and I like slowed myself down. So when I shot in, you know, she had a chance to move around, but also I didn't go into like a friggin' Mack truck, you know, and add too much pressure, too much explosiveness to her. And she even said, she's like, man, you're really smooth with your takedowns. And I said, well, of course, like you're 110 pounds. I'm 210 pounds. I almost weigh double what you weigh. It would be irresponsible of me to come at you full speed and possibly injure you because again, you know, with her, if I come at her a little too hard, if I fall on her the wrong way, I could definitely pop a rib or do something like that could injure her. Now, on the flip side, as soon as her and I were done rolling, I immediately rolled with one of my brown belts who's like a 240 pound just bull. I mean, he's a big, strong dude, man, big monster. And when I was rolling with him, I was using pressure. I was using lots of it. I was like coming down and crashing down on his body. He was doing the same to me and it was all good, right? Because our bodies are close enough that we can take it. And so with your pressure, as long as you're being safe, it all has like a technical aim, you still want to use just common sense discernment, right? Like look at this person. If they're not, if they're not as experienced or if they're not really good or if they're very small, you want to dial back that pressure a little bit. Because again, like you don't want to risk the injury. Now, when you go a little lighter, sometimes on small people, that means they will catch you and stuff. They might get something on you. Who cares, right? Again, practice doesn't count. Like when I'm rolling with small people, it happened the other day. I got caught in a submission because when I was rolling with one of my students, she's a brown belt. She's a fast armbar. And I was sitting there moving around. And as soon as like I gave her a little space, she whipped around, bang, had my arm fully locked out before I could even defend. I had to tap. I'm not mad about it. I'm not upset about it. Again, it's okay. Because again, I'm playing around and I should have defended my arm better, right? So understand that, when you roll a little bit lighter with people, it changes the dynamic. I'm not really trying to win. I'm not using all the cards that I have in my deck. But again, that's training. Training should always be about what am I chasing? What is my technical aim? And for me, it all comes down to like the mindset that I bring into it and the headspace. Your headspace is really important. A lot of times when I look at a lot of the more preventable injuries or preventable issues in the gym from rolling too hard or being too rough or unnecessarily rough, it comes from the person having a mindset of, I gotta win, right? Which should not be our mindset on an average day of training. It should be we're trying to get better at something, right? So like if I'm rolling, my perfect mindset for training is I have a focused goal that I'm working on. Maybe it's a position or a technique. And then that is what I'm actually focused on. And I don't really care if I lose. If I lose, it's like I tap out, okay, let's do it again. I got to get back to working this guard pass or this sweep or whatever it is. And so what I would say for you or tell you to do, Matt, is think about with your pressure, whatever it is that you're worried about, think about something you can do technically with it and then make that your goal. So this way you can add that pressure, but you can understand that it is in conjunction with a technique that you're making progress towards, rather than just getting there and squeezing someone, right? Like think about how you could do that with your pressure passing, for example. You could think about like a pressure passing sequence to go from, half guard to mount. I have some of those on the channel if you want to see that, right? And then this way you can practice using your pressure with a technical aim and make that your focus. And then just make sure that when you're going with the smaller people, you're just dialing it back a little bit so you don't cause any injury on accident or anything like that. And guys, for any of you that watch the videos, if you'd like to get a guide that goes through some different ideas on how to add focus to your training, basically to squeeze out more skill and more progression from your training, then check the links down below. I have a Focus Jiu-Jitsu ebook, has 12 different strategies that you can use in open mats because most people don't have control of their training. They don't get to just, they don't get to direct the situational rolling that they have in the gym. And so a lot of people have open rolling and open mats. So it basically gives you 12 different ideas and strategies that you can use to add some focus to your training so you get more skill from it rather than just going through the motions and rolling, getting sweaty, which is fun. But if you're trying to get better, then again, it'll give you some things to chew on that'll help you improve. So anyway, that's the idea. Matt, thanks for the question, brother. Talk to you guys next time.